Hey, what is up, guys? This is your boy JPDude98, and today, guys, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Alright, so for the past few months, there's been a lot of rumors going around about a collection of 3D Mario games being released for Mario's 35th anniversary, and yesterday, it was finally announced. But they're all just ports. Like, for years, fans dreamt of them remastering or remaking entirely Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, and that's why this news is so disappointing to us. Like, I don't want to sound ungrateful, like, I'm happy that more people will get to experience and play these games that I really love. I mean, Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy are some of my favorite games ever, and I'm happy that more people will be able to play them. But I just feel like this collection is kind of low effort and is also Nintendo kind of taking advantage of their fans. Now that may sound harsh, but give me a chance to explain. Alright, so to start off, we're going to be kicking it all the way back to 2006 when the Nintendo Wii came out. The Wii had a section on the Wii Shop channel called Virtual Console, and there you could download games from Nintendo's older systems like the N64 and the SNES. And the prices were pretty reasonable too. Like, for instance, Mario 64 I believe cost like 1,000 points, or in US dollars that's like $10. And a few years later in 2011, the 3DS added a Virtual Console section to their eShop, and on there you could get games from the Game Boy and SNES and stuff like that. And the Wii U, which came out in 2012, still has its Virtual Console to this day. On there, they actually have Wii games that you can download, like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, and they're priced at $20 each. And despite the Wii U coming out in 2012 and the Switch coming out in 2017, to this day, we still don't have a traditional Virtual Console. In September of 2018, they did add a collection of NES and then eventually SNES games that subscribers of Nintendo Switch Online could play, but there's still no traditional, like, Virtual Console where you could get, say, N64 games or GameCube, Wii games, anything else like that. And now, after refusing to add Virtual Console to the Switch for 3.5 years, they're finally deciding to release Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy as a bundle for $60. So Nintendo essentially removed a central feature to their consoles that have been there since 2006, and now they're selling it back to you and they're acting like it's some sort of big deal. And I would like to point out, it is cool that Sunshine is going to be in this collection, because Sunshine or any other GameCube game for that matter have never been on a Virtual Console. So I guess that's cool, but that's pretty much my only praise I can give to this new collection that's coming out. Alright, now that I'm done ranting about them removing the Virtual Console from the Switch, let's talk about the few things they actually did change in this upcoming collection. So Mario 64 is going to run at an increased resolution of 1080p, and they did update the text and HUD icons to be higher resolution. And they also, I think they tweaked some of the environment textures, like on the ground and stuff, but it's nothing too notable. For some reason, they chose to still make the game run at a 4:3 aspect ratio and still only at 30 FPS, just like the original. Then onto Mario Sunshine, we are also going to be getting an increased resolution up to 1080p. And for some reason, they chose to make this one 16:9, but not Mario 64. I don't understand why. And they didn't go over this, but they must have addressed the problem with the GameCube controller having analog triggers on it. So for those of you that don't know, in Mario Sunshine, if you held down the trigger halfway, it would let Mario run and spray with FLUDD. And if you hold it down all the way to when it clicks, then he would stand in place and kind of be like a turret. And finally, we have Super Mario Galaxy, which actually already ran pretty well on the Wii. It ran at 16:9 and 60 FPS out of the box. And the one upgrade is we're going to be going from the 480p that was normal on the Wii. We're going to be going up to 1080 on the Switch version. And they also showed in the trailer that it has updated controls for pointing a cursor at the screen, because obviously you can't do that on the Switch. There's no Wii sensor bar. So I don't know if it's going to be using gyro controls or the joystick, but either way, that's going to be one change on the new version. So with all that being said, really the only changes are kind of like bare necessities for the game to work, like with the Switch's controls. And again, this is kind of disappointing, especially if you look back at the original Super Mario All-Stars, which came out in 1993, because that was a collection of 4 2D Super Mario games, and they all had updated graphics, updated sounds, updated music. And then you go ahead to our 3D version here in 2020, and we're getting the same exact games just re-released. And just to be clear, this collection is definitely going to fall under the classification of a port of all these games. They're definitely not remakes or remasters or anything like that. For this collection to really be considered a remaster, I would have expected, 60 FPS, 16:9 across the board instead of only including it in some of the titles. And from 64, I would really expect, some updated models and textures and things like that.
Hey, all right, hey, listen here. Didn't hear this from me, all right? Didn't hear this from me. But on the internet, there may or may not be versions of Super Mario 64 that run at like 60 FPS. You know, we're talking like upscaled textures. We're talking like, you may even find like this really cool thing. It's like all the models are changed out to look like the promotional art from 1996. So it actually looks like the cover of the game. If you're looking for that, it might exist. I mean, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying it might be out there. I don't know. And hey, Sunshine might be the same deal. I mean, who's to tell? But like, you know, there might be 60 FPS version. There might be upscale textures. Like, who's to know? Not me. Well, see ya.
Who let that guy in? He was saying some crazy stuff. The heck? All right, anyway. So I was saying, like, you know, if you want to see examples of like good and genuine remakes of classic old 3D platformers, just look at the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro games. I mean, I'm not personally a fan of those games, but from what I saw, they looked like awesome remakes, and it seems like all of their fans really enjoyed them. And the crazy part is, Nintendo did do this in 2004 with Super Mario 64 DS. They updated the graphics, added new characters, new levels, new power-ups, multiplayer, and more. I mean, besides for the controls, there's a lot of good stuff in there, and you can really tell they put in the effort. Oh, and I got another one for you. I just remember that Zelda exists, and they have remakes for Zelda like Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and even recently on the Switch they came out with Link's Awakening. And this is the type of treatment that fans really expected for their favorite Mario games like 64 and Sunshine. Okay, so next I want to talk about what demographic that this new collection actually appeals to. If I had to break it down, I'd probably put Nintendo fans into 3 groups. Number 1, you got the new fans, or like younger kids. Then you have the hardcore fans like myself. And then finally, we have the casual fans. And I think this collection is really only going to appeal to the casual fans. So first, we have the newer fans or young kids who really don't have any previous knowledge of what to expect from these games. I would say Galaxy holds up pretty well today, and I think newer people and young kids are probably, after trying them all, going to gravitate towards that one. But for Sunshine, and like especially 64, I don't think that newer players, or again like young kids, are going to find much enjoyment in them if they didn't have nostalgia for them already. For instance, imagine you're a new Nintendo fan or you're like a young kid. So you boot up Mario 64 for the first time, and if you already have exposure to like Mario Odyssey or even like Mario Galaxy, which is on the same cartridge, your mind's probably not going to be blown. Like, I can't imagine someone who has been exposed to those other modern games are going to find much enjoyment or interest in that one. You might mess around with it for a little bit, but ultimately there's not a lot to guide the player forward, which is what a lot of players have come to expect with newer games like Galaxy and onward. And when that newer player gets stuck, I don't imagine they're going to put much time and effort into figuring it out. They'll probably just end up finding their way over to Galaxy. And I would say Sunshine is similar to 64 in this way. It's not quite as bad. It is a little more structured and a little easier to follow. But at the same time, I would say Sunshine has some of the worst, like just hard to understand like level design that I've ever seen from a Mario game. Okay, so I just finished recording the B-roll for this, and it's worse than I remember. So just to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about, I thought I'd walk you through how to beat one of the most confusing shines in the game, Mysterious Hotel Delfino. So the hotel has 3 floors plus a spooky attic. At first, there's like no indication of where to go. Almost every door on every floor is locked, and there's no pineapple in sight to get Yoshi either. And you can see the shine is in this one room, but the dumb piano won't let you through. Like, when I was a kid, this is the level that made me quit playing the game. Okay, so here's how you actually beat the level. You have to start off by literally jumping through the ceiling, which is pretty much unmarked. I know the guy outside says, oh, the bathroom is leaking, oh, this hotel sucks or whatever. But like, there's no indication that I can literally clip through the ceiling by just jumping. Like, Mario normally can't even jump this high. Like, you have to jump here. It doesn't even look like you can reach the ceiling, and all of a sudden he just clips through the ceiling. Like, great. And then next you have to somehow figure out, you need to spray this painting to be able to get through it. And even after you spray it, it doesn't physically show that it's passable. Like, I know the lady says she doesn't like the painting, but how is that a good indication that I'm able to spray it and then jump through it? All right, so once you're in this next room, you have to spray these finicky panels, get them all to flip to the right side so you can get through. Then you have to spray these pink boosts, make platforms to jump through the ceiling, which at least this time is marked. Then you have to not get distracted by this other room, ground pound through the floor, find this pineapple, and then go get Yoshi from the lobby. Why do you need to get Yoshi, you ask? Well, the answer is quite obvious, actually. It's because Yoshi can eat the ghost in the attic and clear a path through the maze to ground pound through the ceiling and totally own this piano who wouldn't let us in, and then we steal his shine spray. And also, how in the heck was I supposed to know that Yoshi can eat booze? Like, I couldn't find a single hint in the whole game explaining this ability. So the reason I bring all this up is because I feel like these games really need like a full-on remake. If they were to remake these games from the ground up, they could try to polish out some of these crazy, convoluted, like arbitrary solutions to levels, and to add in some stuff to help new players who don't already know the game from like playing it before. Maybe something like an Odyssey, how they have like the map and the compass, and they have like assist mode. They have things to help newer players out. So those are my thoughts on how it might go over for newer fans or just young kids playing through these games for the first time. All right, and now it's on to the hardcore players. So I'm thinking most hardcore players will probably have owned either a Wii or a Wii U where all these games are already playable. Like on the Wii, for instance, you could play Super Mario 64 using Virtual Console. You could play Super Mario Sunshine using the GameCube backwards compatibility, just throw it right in there. And you could also play Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for that matter, just by putting the discs in the console. Or if you happen to be more like one of the hardcore fans that's like our friend from earlier, modders have essentially already remastered all these games. And like he said, they have higher resolutions, higher frame rates, and upscaled textures already. Or if you're excited about playing these games on the go, then our sketchy friend has you covered there too. From what he's telling me, they already have Mario 64 and Sunshine ready to go. Just as long as you're willing to become a hackerman! Alright, so that's enough about the hardcore fans. What about the more casual fans? Like the people who don't want to become a hackerman! And all you want to do is play some classic Mario games. Well, in that case, I mean, maybe you just haven't replayed these games in a while, like the last time you played them was when you were a little kid. Or maybe you've always heard about how great these games are and you never got a chance and you just want to check them out. And to that I say, well, Nintendo's not going to add a virtual console. I guess this is the next best thing. I do have to admit, it will be nice to have these 3 classic games just all easily accessible on one cartridge. I just wish it wasn't hyped up to such a crazy level like it is, because I feel like it really lowers our chances of getting a real remake like Spyro and, you know, Crash got. Okay, so if I was Nintendo, here's how I would have done it. I would have fully recreated Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and put those together on one cartridge. And I think Galaxy is pretty much perfect just the way it is. I mean, the updated controls and resolution is going to be awesome. And what I would do is I would take Galaxy 1 and 2, because for some reason Galaxy 2 just got completely owned in this whole situation. And I would just port them, throw them together on a cartridge, and sell that as a separate game. But unfortunately, I am not Nintendo, so this is what we're getting. But maybe all hope isn't lost, because it's kind of weird, but they're only going to have this Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection available till the end of March in 2021. Seems totally weird to make it a limited release unless they're planning something else pretty similar to it afterwards. So maybe they couldn't get the actual remasters out in time, so they decided, hey, we'll throw this together, make it a limited release, and then we'll come out with the real thing later in 2021. Here's to hoping. But all right, let's be real. That's probably not the case. I really don't know why they're making this limited edition. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but we'll see what happens. And they did announce a few other things during this direct, like they announced a new Mario Battle Royale game, Super Mario Bros. 35. It's like Tetris 99, but with Super Mario Bros. 1, which is kind of interesting. But just like 3D All-Stars, they're ending that game in March of 2021, which again, doesn't make any sense to me. And they finally did it. They're porting Super Mario 3D World to the Switch. I'm honestly the most excited about this announcement because they actually changed a good amount in it. Like they changed the movement speed and they added a new dive move that you can do with all the characters. And they're also adding this whole entire new mode or expansion called Bowser's Fury. Like they didn't give us any information about it, but from the few seconds they showed us of it, it looks so cool. Now I don't want to get my hopes up, but it looks like some sort of like more open world, like difficult, like challenge area, and it looks like so much fun. One of my favorite parts of 3D World was the last like final completionist level, which was Champions Road. It's a super long and difficult course with like no checkpoints, and it's like really challenging, and I hope that they even up the difficulty more on that for Bowser's Fury. Okay, I'm finally done. I'll stop it there. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. You're kind of epic. In the next few weeks, I'm planning to stream all the games from the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection. I mean, and who knows, we might even get a visit from our sketchy friend from earlier. So make sure to subscribe and to slam that bell icon so you don't miss any of that. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.